Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Mike's 3D Life podcast, where we dive into everything in the world of golf, some hot topics, some recent developments, and this week it is PGA Championship week. So we are, of course, are going to dive into that as well. I am currently at home. If you have watched the last episode, you'll know I'm going through a little bit of home renovations at the moment, which is why I'm choosing quite a tight angle on this camera. If you are watching on YouTube or one of our various platforms where video is supported, you'll be seeing this angle. If you're not, if you're just a listener, then it doesn't matter to me. Whichever platform you guys are watching, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback on this episode or any previous episodes. But let's dive straight in. Few house renovations coming along. The bedroom's just about done, but still a lot of work to do in the rest of the house. I mentioned this in the last episode. Not my favorite thing, home renovations. Very stressful, always costly, takes longer than you think it will, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, I have to say. I'm kind of coming around to it. The bedroom's looking very, very nice, much more comfortable and homely than it was before. So I'm really excited to get the rest of the house done, and I will be putting in a kind of filming studio or setup for you guys as well, where we will be recording future episodes of the podcast. So, I have just returned home. I was actually just met a friend up at the golf club I'm a member at locally here where I live in England. Did a little bit of short game practice tonight, a little bit of putting practice. And putting is a really interesting one because I don't know if you're like me or not, but I personally don't tend to practice my putting very often. Most of the times I go out and play, it's pretty rare if I'll even hit a few putts before going out and playing, which is kind of funny because I've worked with professional golfers for the last few years, and I would say their warm up is split into three sections. There is a physical section to do with stretching, physio, gym related exercises, warming up their body. Typically, after that, I would say they will go and putt and warm up their short game, then onto the driving range. But then most of the time, they'll go back to the putting green to hit a final few putts before going out and playing. Because after all, when you are out on the golf course, most of the shots you are going to be hitting is putts. You're going to be using your putter more than any other club in your bag. So, of course, it is a really, really critical tool in your golf bag and part of your golf game. And to be honest, I'd love to do a future episode of the podcast talking about some of the things I've noticed that pretty much every single tour pro I have ever seen, been around, which is quite a lot. I'd love to talk about some of the things they do, which almost religiously, which amateur golfers never do. Because there are a few really essential things, and I do think it's something that we could all learn a lot from. I do also believe that this is the best time of year to play golf, guys. It is beautiful out at the moment. I don't know what the weather is like where you are. Please feel free to let me know where you are listening from to this podcast. But here in England, we've had some glorious sunshine, a little bit of rain, so it's kind of kept the grass growing on the golf courses. They are starting to look stunning this evening. I really wish I could have got out and played, but of course I needed to film this podcast for you guys. And it is just the best time of year, in my opinion, to play golf. It's beautiful sunset evenings are my favorites being out on the course. You get some incredible, incredible lighting, but also the days are still getting longer at the moment. So it doesn't feel like we're moving away from summer. It still feels like we're moving towards the best, and the best is yet to come. Also, a few days ago, I was lucky enough to go and visit a golf course near London called Leatherhead Golf Club. I wanted to just do a little brief recap. I thought it was a really, really good, interesting place. if you are in the UK, I would recommend checking it out if you have time. It has some great facilities, a good TrackMan driving range, good short game practice facilities, everything you would really want, and a really friendly, hospitable, welcoming environment. It also has a fitness setup there. It also has great food and great changing rooms and just a very nice, friendly, welcoming environment to be in. Quite a quirky golf course, some really incredible holes. The kind of first hole and the 17th hole among some of my favorites. Quite tight, quite narrow, tree-lined course, kind of almost heathlandy, almost inland links to a degree. Quite firm, quite quick, not too long, pretty scoreable, I have to say. I hadn't played in a week or so. I was a little bit worried about losing balls, but actually played pretty solidly, to be honest. And yeah, that was really, really nice to get out. So thank you guys for having me there. I will probably be doing some more filming there in a future YouTube video. So make sure you guys stay tuned to that. More will be coming to my YouTube channel very, very, very soon. Another little update for you guys. A couple weeks ago, I went on a little trip to Tunisia, which I have to say I'd never been to before. It was definitely a country to tick off. Really, really interesting place. Played some amazing golf courses, had some amazing food. I'm probably going to dive in much, much more detail in a future episode because I really want to get into kind of all the details about the trip, what we did, where we went, what I would recommend you doing or not doing. And yeah, I would really like to tell you guys a little bit more about it. I think it's a pretty affordable place. Certainly food, accommodation, things like that over there. Very, very, very cheap, very affordable. So if you're looking for a golf trip, it could be one to consider. We had perfect weather, which always helps as well. I was over there on a little press trip with the tourism board and with some other influencers from the UK. More content will be coming out from that trip on my YouTube and on my Instagram and TikTok accounts very, very, very soon. But yeah, definitely one to watch. If you've been to Tunisia before, let me know in the comments down below. Another similar-ish place that I went to last year on a golf trip with some friends is Morocco. Specifically, we went to Marrakesh. That was really, really good. I would also highly recommend that. Again, when I get into the Tunisia podcast in the future, I think I'll probably also dive more into Morocco as well, because they are in a similar location, similar weather, I think similar price points as well. So a very, very interesting comparison between them and two locations you should definitely consider for a golf trip at some point. Very interesting, unique cultures, very beautiful buildings, and of course, some great golf courses, great food, and great weather as well. But what is this podcast all about? Golf, PGA Championship week. Let's dive in to the PGA Championship. And of course, we need to start by talking about the players and who might potentially end up the 2025 PGA Championship winner. Now, I would love to hear your thoughts below, guys. I would love, love, love to hear your favorites, anyone you've put money on this week. I want to talk about Scottie Scheffler as a start before we get into some other names. I feel like he's really coming into form. I feel like this could be his week. He's never won a PGA Championship, but I think this could really suit him. He got his first win of the year just a few weeks ago, playing some really, really impressive golf, going incredibly, incredibly low. I think he won at 31 under par, which I don't care how easy the golf course is. I don't care if it's mini golf. Shooting 31 under par through 4 rounds of golf is unbelievably impressive. I also really, really enjoyed his video with Grant Horvat. If you have seen that video, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't seen that video, highly recommend you check it out. I think it's really, really funny. shows actually a lot more of Scottie's personality, really allows you to get to know him a little bit better. Seems like a really, really nice guy, very laid back, quite competitive, as you would expect a major championship winning golfer to be, but just a super, super chilled, very nice, laid back guy. Looks like the kind of guy, the kind of person you would really want to spend some time with out on the golf course, have a laugh with, and just, yeah, just have a really good time. Just would be a very, very good friend to have. And Scottie, I really like his chances this week. As I mentioned, I think he's really rounding into form. He was never out of form. He had a good Masters in 2025. I mean, I don't think he played his best stuff. I think he was visibly frustrated. You could see that. He wasn't hitting some of the shots he wanted to hit. He was struggling to turn the ball over right to left. And if you actually saw Grant's video, Scottie gives away a few little secrets to do with his game and to do with his finish positions, where if he finishes a shot a certain way, it kind of means that his arms got a little bit deep and a little stuck behind him in his downswing, which I thought was really, really interesting, a really key insight into just looking at how Scottie is actually playing. I really like his chances this week. I think he could go really, really low out there. Great driver of the golf ball, great long game, great short game chipping, pitching around the greens. He would be, if I had to go with one player for this week, I would be going Scottie Scheffler. But let's talk about who I would go as my number 2 pick going into the 2025 PGA Championship. And surprise, surprise, another favorite on the Live Golf Tour, Bryson Dechambeau. Bryson has just come off a win in Korea. Unbelievable win. He says he actually played the best golf he's ever played, even above his major championship wins. He obviously had an incredible Masters, not the Sunday he wanted, but I think it's safe to say he's figuring it out. He's improving. His last few tournament starts, I believe, were 5th, 2nd, and a win. So he's playing some pretty impressive golf. I don't care, if you're a Live, the PGA Tour. All of these tours have some of the top players in the world, and no matter where you're teeing it up, no matter which tour, you have to beat them if you want to win. So some very, very, very impressive golf being played by Bryson DeChambeau. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you feel his chances are this week. I did see something quite interesting, quite funny to do with Bryson. I don't know if you guys saw on Instagram. Justin Bieber put up some very random collection of golf videos of him swinging a golf club on his Instagram. I saw Bryson commented on it and basically suggested they film some golf content. So it would be a very interesting episode of Bryson's Break 50 series if he had Justin Bieber on as a guest. I think that is one that would definitely catch a lot of eyeballs and would be very, very interesting to watch. Justin Bieber, seemingly, I don't really follow pop or celebrities very often, but looks like he'd been having a bit of a hard time and not been enjoying the spotlight with the paparazzi that much recently. But let's move on to our next golfer. And our next golfer is a 2-time major champion, 2-time PGA Championship winner, Justin Thomas. Now, obviously, it has been a few years since JT picked up that PGA Championship trophy, but he's won at Quail Hollow before. He's a previous PGA Championship winner, and he is really rounding into form. You can get some great odds on him at the moment, and I could really see him making a really good run at it. He can go about as low as anyone. There was recently a collection of stats put out about Justin Thomas's, all of his course records that he holds, and something like 24 course records at some of the most difficult and impressive golf courses around the world. He can go as low as anyone. in the world when he is on. Again, a great video with Grant Horvat, showcased his confidence, showcased his skill set. Some really, really interesting stuff. I think YouTube golf and these videos that some of the top creators like Grant are doing with the best players in the world really allow us to get to know these guys a bit better, but they really show off their skills and how good they are. You know, Grant's a great player in his own right. These guys are obviously, you know, on another planet, but really, really impressive stuff, even in front of the cameras on YouTube. I could really see Justin Thomas picking up a third PGA Championship trophy this week. Let me know what you guys think about JT's chances in the comments down below. Now, the fourth name I want to talk about. He has a chance this week to complete the career Grand Slam, and that is, of course, Jordan Spieth, the golden boy himself. One of my favorite players. I was at Royal Birkdale when he won his last major championship at the Open in 2017. Just an incredible, incredible golfer. When he is on, he is so entertaining to watch. He was, you know, kind of going to be the next Tiger Woods at one point. He was really looking that good when he came out on the PGA Tour. His skill set is unbelievable, and it kind of feels like with him, it's always been building a road back. He's had setbacks. He's obviously had multiple children in that time. I'm sure that takes a huge amount of his energy, of his time, his resources. He's had surgery in that time on his wrist. I like his chances this week. I'm not sure I can see him winning. He has started to play some great golf again. I think he's coming back into form. I don't think I could see him beating a Rory Mcilroy, a Bryson Dechambeau, and a Scottie Scheffler, I can't see him beating all of these guys at the moment. I don't know why. I could see him getting up there, and then I could kind of see him just making a few mistakes. As we all know, Jordan loves talking to his golf ball, probably more so than any other tour player. And one of the reasons it makes him so entertaining to watch. I could kind of see him getting up there. I could see him missing a few short putts or blaming a few bad lies. I thought it was really, really interesting what he had to say about the Masters in Augusta this year and about the mud balls. Now, if you don't know about this, Spieth came out to the media and kind of said how many mud balls the guys were getting at the Masters. And he kind of alluded to the fact they're not supposed to talk about it. And he said the reason they were getting those mud balls is because Augusta mows the grass in one direction from green to tee. So when you hit the ball, it's effectively plugging into the grain and creating a lot of mud balls. It's one of the reasons why Augusta is a very difficult course to play for these guys, because everything you're hitting, all these difficult wedge shots that you're having to hit, sometimes off these crazy slopes, even onto plateaus above you, it's into the grain. So if you catch that ball a little bit heavy, it's really going to dig in and it's going to exaggerate that missed strike and make it that much more difficult to control your distance and control your spin going into those really, really difficult greens at Augusta. But I could see Jordan having a good week. I would love him to be up there. I would love him to make a run for the title. I'd love to see him win and complete the career Grand Slam. It would be incredible this year if we had Rory Mcilroy complete the career Grand Slam, then Jordan Spieth, and even if we had Phil Mickelson win the US Open and finally complete his career Grand Slam, that could be pretty incredible, a pretty incredible turn of events that would be. The next name we have to talk about is Rory Mcilroy, the 2025 Masters champion. Now, Rory Mcilroy, I'm not going to lie, I don't love his chances this week. And that's nothing to do with his talent. That's nothing to do with his success, this year so far. He's won multiple times. He's won the Masters. But since winning the Masters, and this happens to whoever wins the Masters, by the way, it's just incredibly difficult to maintain focus, to keep going. Rory's responsibilities have increased. He's had to go to New York, do the whole press tour, do the, you know, interviews with Jimmy Fallon and TV appearances and all this stuff. He's gone back to Ireland, Northern Ireland, to spend time with his family and loved ones and celebrate properly, as he should. But it's not been that long since the Masters. I believe he's had 2 appearances then. He appeared in the team event on the PGA Tour playing with Shane Lowry, and then he also appeared in the most recent Truist Championship on the PGA Tour. So I'm not sure his focus has been there. He's had the repetitions, he's had the practice recently. That's kind of my feelings. Again, I would love to see Rory up there. It makes the tournament that much more interesting. I am always rooting for golf above all else. I'm rooting for the tournament to be as interesting as possible, for the top names, the fan favorites to be up there competing, playing the best possible golf. I'm just not sure about Rory, but if he does win, he does have a chance to complete the one thing which no golfer has ever completed, and that is to win all 4 majors in the same calendar year. He's the only person who can do that, and it would be a very interesting storyline if he did win, and following that journey then into the next 2 major championships. The last name I want to talk about is Lucas Oberg. Ludwig Oberg. I don't know why I called him Lucas. I think I was thinking Lucas Glover. Ludwig Oberg, super, super talented young player, incredible ball striker. I've watched him up close. Different sound coming off the club face. Incredible Masters. Again, has won on the PGA Tour this year, but I don't have a huge amount of faith. And the reason is, if you look at the putting stats, from about 10 feet and in, he's ranked quite far down the field. Also, he's been very, very inconsistent this year. He has won, but he's also missed cuts and, had some pretty average performances. Again, I would love to see him up there. This guy will win major championships at some point, and to see him cross the line this week would be incredibly special. See him elevate himself into that next tier of world championship and major championship winning golfers. I think that would be absolutely incredible. The weather over there really doesn't look great at the moment. Very, very wet. I have been working with Dean Burmester for the last 2 years, and I've been following Dean as he prepares for the PGA Championship. He is obviously competing this year. If you don't know Dean, he's a very, very talented South African golfer, incredibly talented, great ball striker, hits the ball a mile. And I would love to see him also have a great week this week, contend in more majors, and also would love to see him pick up that trophy on Sunday. The PGA Championship, I feel like we can all agree, is probably 4th on the list of the major championships. It's a pretty tight battle. Most people argue the Masters would be number 1. Some people from this side of the Atlantic argue that the Open Championship would be number 1. What do you think the correct order of the major championships should be? I would probably say it's Masters, the Open, then the US Open, then the PGA. But I do think the PGA is on the rise. We've had some incredible PGA championships the last few years, and I am really, really excited for the 2025 PGA Championship. Let me know who is going to win down in the comments below. Let me know any thoughts you have on this episode. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you are watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode.